In this video, I'll show you how to take data from any API and display it right inside the Zendesk ticket in Zendesk Support. What I'm going to show you works exactly the same for Zendesk Sell and Zendesk Chat as well. The tool we're going to use is called FactBranch, and the first thing you have to do is go to factbranch.com and create an account. Once you've done that, you'll see this screen. And as we want to show data in the FactBranch Zendesk app, that's what I'm going to select. This creates a simple data pipeline. Data pipeline in FactBranch gets triggered by something, in our case, the Zendesk app, and then runs a query, for example, and in the end renders a UI. So this is the Zendesk app display node. If you want to use credentials in your API request, first head over to data sources and add a data source. Use REST API. And here you can select different authentication types. So for example, use a token or just a username password. So I'm just going to use demo data here. Once you've done that, the credentials are safe inside this data source, and you can use it in your data pipelines. So I'm going to head back to the data pipeline we've just created and create a REST API node. And here you can use different HTTP methods and enter the URL. I have a very simple demo API node where I have to post to, and in the request body I'm using an email address, and what I want to do is use the email address that we get from the Zendesk app, so that comes directly from the Zendesk ticket. Here's the all the available input data, and I'm just going to copy the variable for that field and paste it here. So this uses a $trigger.data.email references this this particular field. Okay, and then we're gonna close the brackets and run our first request. In this particular endpoint, just for demo purposes, there is no test.example.com data, but there should be data for Bob. So that's how you edit the input data here, and this allows you to just try out different input data, how your API reacts to that, and which results you get. And now for Bob, we find results. Something I can do for this particular endpoint, this is again just for demo purposes, I can supply an items array, and then it returns the same array. It's just to see what it can do. Let me return to the data pipeline overview just to show you what's happening again. So first the data pipeline gets triggered by opening a ticket in Zendesk. Then it runs the query against our API endpoint that we've just configured now. And whatever that endpoint returns gets forwarded to the Zendesk app display node. And that's our last point to configure. And the app display node takes the data. You see, here's the data that we just got from our API endpoint. And it creates a UI based on that data. And a nice FactBranch feature is to generate a UI for you based on the data we have here. So if you click the button, it just generates a very basic label value display. If it encounters an array, it creates a bullet point list. So this is just a normal HTML template. We're using a templating language that's very similar to Liquid or Ginger 2. So if you're familiar with those two, you should feel right at home. If you want to change something here, I don't know, let's just delete number from here. the output preview will update automatically. So when you're happy with the output, head back to the data pipeline. And the last thing we have to do is actually install the app in Zendesk, so it's displayed in our tickets. Everything you need for that you'll find in the trigger config. We have 3 different apps for chat, sell, and support. And we want to install the app in Zendesk Support. What we'll need is the API key. I'm going to copy that now and head to the marketplace page, install the app in my Zendesk account. Here's where we paste the API key. If you want to restrict which agents can see the app, here's the place you do that for either by roles or by groups. I don't want to do this for the demo, so I'm just installing the app. And once that's done, and I go back to the ticket and refresh the apps panel, FactBranch loads, and we have the data that we just got from our REST API endpoint. So this is how you take data from any API, create a nice UI that your agents can work with, and just see data that helps them respond to your tickets faster. What I've just shown you works exactly the same for Zendesk Sell and for Zendesk Chat. You just install different apps. So head to factbranch.com and start your 14-day free trial today.